E aí galera, tudo tranquilo? Como vocês estão? Né? Hoje eu tô trazendo para vocês um vídeo que saiu esses dias, né? Que é de um trailer, gameplay de Horizon Forbidden West, né? Que é um jogo que vai sair dia 28 de fevereiro agora, né? Pela Guerrilla Games. E eu vou comentar com vocês, né? Eu vou passar o vídeo, vou parando, né? Para falar alguma coisa. E assim a gente vai assistindo junto, tá ok? Nessa primeira imagem a gente vê que tá bem bonito o jogo já, né? A gente já esperava isso, porque o primeiro jogo é bem bonito, né? Eles capricharam bastante. Então vamos dar uma olhada nesse trailer, tá ok?
Horizon Zero Dawn introduced an amazing foundation to Guerrilla Games' post-apocalyptic world. Following it up is no small feat, but after 4 hours of hands-on time with early portions of its sequel, Horizon Forbidden West is shaping up to be a fulfillment of all the promises made.
Só um minutinho, vamos habilitar a legenda aqui, se tiver disponível, claro. Tá sim. E colocar português aqui. Se a legenda a gente vê que não tem nada a ver, a gente tira, tá bom? Né? Mas por enquanto acho que vai ficar mais fácil pra gente entender o vídeo, né? Se a gente colocar. Ok.
Made by its predecessor. Combat is more complex, exploration is more freeing, and the world is teeming with more intriguing life, both robotic and human, and meaningful things to do. The Forbidden West in all its glory still waits to be seen, but I'm not forbidden from telling you about so much of why it's an adventure on which I can't wait to embark. My time with Forbidden West didn't start exactly where Aloy's journey begins in the sequel, but rather a little into her quest to find new answers and maybe save humanity along the way.
It's been 6 months since the events of Horizon Zero Dawn, and Aloy has noticed throughout the world that this red blight is kind of encroaching everywhere.
Só um minuto, galera. Eles falaram, né, que... Bom, também tá no nome do jogo, né? Que ela vai começar a jornada dela no Oeste Proibido. E no Horizon Zero Dawn, assim, eles não falaram abertamente com relação a esse lugar, né? Mas deu a entender que era um lugar que era inacessível, né? Que eles tentaram fazer incursões, né? Sei lá, não lembro direito. Mas que era um lugar assim que eles não poderiam ir, né? Então, dá-se a entender que finalmente a Aloy explora esse lugar, né? Eu tô bem curioso, pra falar a verdade.
This is a world-ending threat, and she has to find a way to stop it.
The first big question I had when jumping in was how much freer exploration actually would be. Zero Dawn did many things right, but its
Nossa, que
climbing
bonito.
navigation was one of its most
Bem
frustrating
bonito
limitations.
mesmo, eles capricharam
Forbidden West
bastante.
doesn't make every single inch of its world climbable, which may be disappointing to some, but it was immediately apparent and appreciable just how much more of the world is scalable, and how fun it is to do so. And it's made better by an improved focus. A quick click of R3 causes a pulse scan around
Parece que os pontos de escalada estão mais destacados também, né? O amarelo tá mais vivo.
Climbable parts of the world. Another nice addition is the Pullcaster, a fancy sort of grappling hook that lets the player pull Aloy to harder to reach.
Acho que esse movimento não tinha, né, galera?
It's even something that can be used in conjunction with the Shield Wing, a glider Aloy obtained near the end of my demo.
Olha, essa edição aí eu pedi muito. Lembra muito Zelda, né? O Zelda Breath of the Wild. Esse paraglider aqui, né, vai adiantar muito pra gente na exploração. Porque, bom, quem jogou Horizon aí, né, vai saber que esse paraglider fazia muita falta, né? Esse paraglider, ele... Como é que eu posso dizer? A gente tinha que descer as montanhas, né? A gente tinha que descer a pé mesmo. E a Aloy tinha um dano de queda, né? Assim, dependendo da altura que ela caía. Então era muito difícil. Às vezes você tinha que dar volta na montanha para poder descer. Era muito complicado, né? A gente tinha que procurar uma descida. E isso aqui vai adiantar bastante.
Zero Dawn's movement. Forbidden West seems purpose-built to ensure that everything you do has more worthwhile and varied rewards. Deeper settlements is a core part of Forbidden West, and if my time in Chainscrape, the first one I came across, is any indication, there will be a lot for players to find, discover, and lose hours to play.
Tem muito mais detalhes.
We really wanted to kind of listen to the fans and listen to our reviewers and also based on our own internal feedback. And so there was a whole set of things we wanted to do with settlements, including general sense of them being more lifelike, better animations, better schedules for the NPCs, and also audio. We really wanted to improve the sort of crowd audio in the sense that when you go into any given place in a settlement, it has its own
Nossa, tá
kind of
incrível.
audio personality. And we also have a situation where Aloy's going in to the Forbidden West and encountering new tribes, specifically the Utaru and the Tanakh. And we really wanted to make sure those were as differentiated as possible with, you know, NPCs doing things that they would only do in that tribe to give it that sense of life.
The center point of the town, a busy brewery, had so many cute little bespoke animations of characters sharing a pint, laughing at stories being told, and more. But settlements aren't going to be just full of NPCs you can't interact with. There seem to be more side quests and worthwhile ones at that. There is also a wider swath of side objectives I encountered in and out of town, like melee fight pits, environmental puzzles, and even...
Assim, não sei se vocês repararam, né? Vocês que jogaram o Horizon Zero Dawn, né? Eu percebi que as expressões das pessoas, dos NPCs, assim, de missões secundárias, não falo nem da Aloy, mas os NPCs de missões secundárias, eles capricharam mais, né? No Horizon Zero Dawn a gente percebia, né? Pelo menos eu tive essa impressão, que o rosto dos personagens mais principais eram mais caprichados e aqueles de personagens secundários eram menos caprichados, né? Então, pelo menos pelo que eu percebi, né? Assim, e pelo jeito aqui, pelo que eles estão mostrando no trailer, né? Eles melhoraram isso daí.
Even more, like an in-universe board game called Machine Strike that I'm already setting aside a dozen or so hours to lose playing in. And all of these objectives don't feel like one of any open world's biggest potential problems: filler. Instead, narrative director Ben McCaw explained how everything is built with more and better rewards in mind, whether they be new equipment, outfits, weapons, or key pieces of lore.
It's great to have a huge open world.
A personagem da Aloy é bem bonita, né? Eles capricharam bastante também.
Not related or not essential. That's not a great feeling. We wanted to make sure that there's a certain path through this game where if players want to experience the main quest and kind of get to the end of the story as quickly as possible, that they could do that. And also, there's definitely a progression through this game that's really focused on combat. But if there is going to be an activity in the world, a board game, a melee pit, even a camp or outpost associated with Regala's rebels, or there are other examples, things that return from the previous game, they all need to feel part of the world. They all need to be part of the story.
I enjoyed much of Zero Dawn's ensemble, but I kind of fell in love with almost every character, new and old, big and small, in Forbidden West. Aloy has been endearing from minute one, but Ashley Birch plays her with such a charming determination that is as enjoyable to watch in action as she defies bureaucrats unwilling to take action to get things done, as it is painful to see
eles estão de volta, que legal.
close friends like Erend and Petra who care so deeply for her.
I'm asking nicely.
Arrest her!
I'd like to see you try.
So what we wanted to do with Aloy in the Forbidden West is just put her under as much pressure as possible. And so obviously she has the pressure of trying to resolve the Blight, which is a world-ending threat, and she has all the other pressures of like fighting machines and just trying to survive in this world. But she also has this other pressure of trying to live up to the example of her genetic mother, Elizabeth Sobek. This is
Os personagens são bem carismáticos também, né?
Someone who literally almost single-handedly saved the world. That's a
Não
very,
são
very
personagens vazios.
live up to, and it affects her interactions with other people. It's also important to remember that this is someone who grew up an outcast and only just started to interact with the world as a whole in the previous game.
And while this opening section teased some of the new tribes Aloy will interact with in the
Novas
West,
máquinas
it also
também.
heralded the arrival of her new enemy, Regala. And what an introduction it is.
Lancers! Form up!
Played with such power by Angela Bassett, Regala is immediately positioned as a force to be reckoned with, and it only appears to scratch the surface of her power.
Aloy's companions offer different interactions that display different aspects of Aloy's personality. And this
então ele não é um
something
vilão,
that,
então?
carries through the whole game. It's actually one
Pelo
of the
menos é o que deu a
themes
entender no
of the
final do
game.
Horizon Zero
How
Dawn.
does she relate to other people?
Mas
How
tá
does she
falando
relate
normal
to
com ela?
companions? How does that change her as a person? And Aloy's companions are really central to the story and the themes of the Forbidden West. It's really the way that she relates to each of them differently and the impact that they have on her that really forces her to kind of evolve her personality throughout the game.
Aaron!
Esse personagem é bem legal. Gosto bastante dele.
Luckily, Aloy has a few new friends and new tools and skills at her disposal to rise to the occasion. There are now 6 lengthy skill trees players can invest in based on their style. It should all pair nicely with the expanded arsenal of equipment and
melhoraram o menu
outfits
também. Olha
required.
que legal.
Another nice twist on established systems. Outfits are more closely tied
Nossa,
to
tá
these
bem
skill
mais
trees,
bonito.
and some will offer stat boosts that can make skills even stronger. Notably, melee combat is also improved. There's a far greater fluidity in the animations and how they chain together, and it also seems like a more viable option in general, thanks to new
Olha, esse
skills like
movimento aí que ela
impressive
fez,
designated
não tinha, né?
blasts.
Pelo menos eu não sei se tinha uma
There are
maneira de
also
fazer
new
isso
weapons like the
no
javelin
primeiro
thrower,
jogo,
while
mas acho que não.
returning items like tripcasters and standard elemental arrow options make a welcome comeback. But there's now a wider amount of those elements as well, including acid arrows that can be deployed with a precise strike to use acid-bearing machines' own toxicity against them. Machines,
flecha de
of course,
ácido,
are
não
a
tinha.
major part of the attraction of Horizon's world, and at least so far, Forbidden West
Bichos
is
que
still
sobem em
capturing the
árvore
mix of
também.
wonder, awe, and trepidation that comes with meeting these creatures. There's a nice blend of new and returning machine types, like the acidic bristlebacks, returning scrappers and chargers, and even something new like the burrower. Guerrilla is clearly saving some of Forbidden West's biggest battles for players, including myself, to play through when the full game is released, but I did get to take on one of my most eagerly anticipated newcomers.
Olha que legal o
the
design
venomous
desse bicho aí
Slither.
também, baseado numa serpente.
To do so, I jumped a bit further into Forbidden West to try out its new arena, an optional area where players will take on various challenges, needing to finish them under a certain time limit to earn medals that unlock some of the sequel's best equipment. The Slitherfang, with its whole new suite of devastating attacks, is a prime example of the ingenuity Guerrilla displays with Horizon's combat. Coupled with all the new weapons and skills, which I admittedly was still just getting the hang of, defeating the Slitherfang in time was immensely gratifying in the way taking down Zero Dawn's biggest foes was. But with new tricks for both Aloy and foes, these fights are a fresh joy to discover as I worked out the best way to succeed. Or at least survive. I played this particular battle in Forbidden West's frame rate mode,
As animações de
though I switched
ataque
between
da Aloy
frame
também estão bem
resolution and
diferentes.
performance options throughout, and found both
Assim, eles melhoraram isso, né? Olha, eu quero que vocês percebam, em algumas cenas que eles estão passando, por exemplo, essa daqui, né? Tem alguns jogos, né, que eles colocam um sistema de oclusão, né? Para quem não sabe, eles colocam uma espécie de névoa para você não conseguir enxergar o fundo, né? E renderizar menos, né? Não ter tanto poder de, assim, não usar tanto poder de processamento na hora de renderizar. Mas aqui, ó, percebam, galera, que todo lugar é visível, né? E você tem a sensação de que você pode ir para qualquer lugar nesse jogo.
Almost every conversation I had in Forbidden West saw the camera pulled back more and let characters be more uniquely animated in their movements and facial expressions.
About time there was something worth looking at in this dump. It's nice to see you too.
Thankfully, we're only under a month away from getting to see
Olha
all
lá,
of this
lá no
play out
fundo,
in
ó.
full. And my time with Horizon Forbidden West has me more assured than ever that Guerrilla has really refined and evolved the Horizon experience with Forbidden West.
There is an enormous amount of story and territory and combat to be had. But the slice that we did give you is really near the beginning of Aloy's journey, near the beginning of her sojourn into the Forbidden West, and also just the very beginning of her evolution as a character.
It's an easy comparison to make, but often an apt one. The leap here feels like it could be that jump from Assassin's Creed 1 to Assassin's Creed 2, which is saying something considering how solid Zero Dawn already was.
Eles compararam com Assassin's Creed.
What I had about the original seems to have been thought through, and then some. Aloy's new journey seems more robust and rewarding than I expected, while retaining the wonder and awe that is.
Olha, será que essa é a nova flecha lacerante?
What the Forbidden West itself will hold, but after my hands-on, I've never been more excited to find out. For more, be sure to check out our Podcast Beyond conversation about even more details from our hands-on time with Forbidden West, and if you're interested in hearing about more PlayStation exclusives, be sure to check out our Art of the Level on Uncharted 4's greatest chase sequence. And for everything else in the world of PlayStation, you're already in the right place, IGN.
Nossa, o combate parece estar bem legal também. Olha isso. E é isso, galera, né? Espero que vocês tenham gostado, né? Eu vou ficando por aqui e até mais.